Welcome to a journey into the hidden world of influence. Have you ever wondered why you sometimes say yes to things you don't really want? Robert Cialdini, a renowned psychologist, admits he's been an easy target for persuasive pitches all his life. This curiosity led him to explore what makes us comply with requests, whether from salespeople, fundraisers, or even friends. Through years of research and undercover work, Cialdini uncovered the psychological triggers that make us say yes. In this video, we'll dive into these triggers, revealing how they shape our choices and how professionals use them to their advantage. Let's begin by understanding the basics of influence. Cialdini describes 6 core principles: consistency, reciprocation, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity, that act as powerful weapons of influence. These principles are not just used by professionals. We all rely on them in daily life, often without realizing it. Compliance professionals, like salespeople and advertisers, have mastered these techniques, using them to get us to say yes. The book is organized around these principles, each with real-world examples and strategies. Understanding these weapons helps us recognize when we're being influenced and gives us the tools to respond more thoughtfully. Humans, like animals, have automatic behaviors triggered by specific cues. Cialdini shares a story about mother turkeys who care for their chicks based on a single sound, the cheep cheep. Similarly, humans respond automatically to certain words or situations. For example, simply saying "because" when making a request can dramatically increase compliance, even if the reason is trivial. These shortcuts help us navigate a complex world, but they also make us vulnerable to manipulation. Recognizing these automatic responses is the first step to regaining control over our decisions. Cialdini tells the story of a jewelry store owner who accidentally doubled the price of unsold turquoise pieces, only to see them sell out immediately. Why? Customers use the shortcut expensive equals good to judge quality. This principle works most of the time, but it can lead us astray when exploited. Retailers and salespeople often use price as a trigger to influence our perception of value. By understanding this, we can pause and consider whether higher price truly means higher quality or if we're just reacting automatically. The contrast principle is a subtle yet powerful tool. It affects how we perceive differences between things presented in sequence. For instance, after buying an expensive suit, a $95 sweater seems cheap by comparison. Retailers use this by showing high-priced items first, making subsequent purchases feel more reasonable. This principle isn't limited to shopping, it shapes our perceptions in everyday life, from relationships to negotiations. By being aware of the contrast effect, we can make more objective decisions and avoid being swayed by artificial comparisons. Reciprocation is a universal rule. When someone gives us something, we feel compelled to give back. Cialdini shares stories of how even small gifts, like a flower from a stranger or a free sample at a store, can trigger a sense of obligation. This rule is so powerful that it can override our actual preferences or even our feelings toward the giver. Marketers, fundraisers, and even political organizations use this to their advantage. Recognizing when you're being nudged by reciprocation helps you decide if you truly want to reciprocate or if you're just following an automatic script. The rule of reciprocation can be exploited, especially when we receive uninvited gifts. Cialdini describes how organizations send unsolicited gifts, like address labels, to encourage donations. Even if we didn't ask for the gift, we feel obligated to respond. Sometimes, the return favor is much larger than the original gift. A small favor can lead to a big commitment. This imbalance happens because we want to avoid the discomfort of feeling indebted. By recognizing these tactics, we can make fairer decisions and avoid being manipulated into unfair exchanges. One of the most effective compliance techniques is the rejection then retreat strategy. It works like this. Someone makes a large request, expecting you to refuse, then follows up with a smaller request. The second request seems reasonable by comparison, and you feel compelled to agree. This tactic combines the power of reciprocation and the contrast principle. Cialdini's research shows it dramatically increases compliance, whether it's selling raffle tickets, negotiating, or making sales. Being aware of this tactic helps you pause and consider your true willingness before saying yes. Humans have a deep need to be consistent with their past actions and commitments. Once we make a choice, we feel pressure to justify and stick with it, even if circumstances change. Cialdini illustrates this with stories from racetracks to relationships. Once a bet is placed or a decision is made, our confidence and attachment grow. This drive for consistency can be exploited by those who want us to comply without thinking. By understanding this tendency, we can pause, reflect, and ensure our commitments truly align with our best interests. So, how can we protect ourselves from being unduly influenced? The key is awareness. By recognizing the triggers, reciprocation, contrast, consistency, and more, we can pause before responding automatically. Not every favor requires a return. Not every expensive item is better. And not every commitment deserves blind loyalty. Cialdini encourages us to accept genuine kindness, but to recognize when a favor is a tactic, not a gift. With this knowledge, we can make choices that serve our true interests, not just our automatic responses.